Queen Bee by Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time, two sons of a king set out to see the world and fell into such a wild kind of life that they did not return home. So their youngest brother, Dummling, went to seek them, but when he found them, they mocked him because of his simple manners. However, they took him with them. After a time, they came to an ant hill. This the two older brothers would have torn in pieces to see the little ants run away with their eggs. But Dumpling said, "Let the little creatures live in peace. I will not let you hurt them." Then they went along until they came to a lake on which ducks were swimming in great numbers. The two brothers wanted to catch a pair and roast them, but Dumpling would not allow it, saying, "Let these fools alone. I will not let you kill them." At last they came to a bee's nest, in which was so much honey that it was running out at the mouth of the nest. The two brothers would have laid down under the tree and caught the bees as they passed for the sake of their honey. But Dumpling again held them back, saying, "Leave the bees alone. I will not let you hurt them." After this, the three brothers came to a castle in the stable of which stood a number of stone horses, but no man was to be seen. They went through all the rooms of the castle until they came to a door on which hung three logs, and in the middle of the door was a hole through which one could see into a room. Peeping through this hole, they saw a fierce-looking man sitting at a table. They called him once, twice, but he heard not. The third time they called, he got up, opened the door, and came out. Not a word did he speak, but led them to a well-set table, and when they had eaten, he took each of them into a sleeping room. The next morning, the men went to the oldest brother and led him to a stone table on which three sentences were written. The first was that under the moss of the wood lay the pearls of a king's daughter, 1,000 in number. These must be sought, and if at sunset even one was wanting, he who had looked for them would be changed into stone. The eldest brother went off and hunted the whole day, but found only 100, so that it happened to him as the table had said. He was changed into stone. The next day the second brother went, but he did no better than the other, for he found but 200 pearls, and he was turned into stone. Then came Demling's turn. He searched in the moss, but the pearls were hard to find. Then he sat down upon a stone and wept. While he was weeping, the ant king, whose life he had once saved, came up with 5,000 ants, and before very long they found and piled in a heap the whole 1,000 pearls. The second sentence was to fetch the key of the princess's sleeping room out of a lake which the brother had passed. When Demling returned to the lake, the Dex who lives he has whose lives the Dex whose lives he had saved, whose lives he has saved, stormed towards him, and diving below the water, quickly brought up the key. The third sentence, however, was the hardest of all. One of these daughters of the king he must pick out the youngest and prettiest. They were all asleep and looked alike, without a single marked mark by which to tell them apart, except that before they fell asleep they had eaten three kinds of sweets. The eldest a piece of sugar, the second a little syrup, and the youngest a spoonful of honey. But in come the queen bee of all the bees who had been saved by Dumpling, and tried the mouths of the three. At last she settled on the mouth of which had eaten the honey, and thus the king's son knew which was the right princess. Then the spell was broken. Everyone awoke, even those who had been changed into stone. Dumpling was given a whole kingdom as a reward, and the ants, ducks, and bees were always his most faithful friends and servants. Thank you.